Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Binks. I am the author of The Monster of Her Age, and I was meant to be meeting all of you at a wonderful Teen 2 salon at Eltham Bookshop, the bookshop in the trees that I was so looking forward to, but that's okay, it is postponed, not cancelled. TBD on the details of the rescheduling. But in the meantime, I'm going to send you all a little message. I'm going to talk a little bit about my book, my new book, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up a copy of my book or one of the other books from the other two fabulous authors who are going to be in the teen salon. And I understand that if you can't go and pick up the copy of the book from the door at Eltham Bookshop, they may be able to send it to you free of charge to your home address. So there you go. I've got some questions I'm going to be answering, and one of them was the themes of the narrative in my book. The Monster of Her Age, which is a young adult novel, probably suitable for readers age 15 plus, potentially 14 plus if they're advanced readers. It has a fictional film history, and it's got a made up family of Tasmanian thespians who have been immersed in the Australian film and television and theatre world, going back to Australia's first live action film, which was the Kelly Gang that premiered at the Athenaeum Theatre here in Melbourne. And it's about a young woman who herself was immersed in her family's film culture. She played the child monster opposite her famous grandmother in an indie horror movie, but she didn't have a great experience on the film set. And I partly wrote this because, of course, the Me Too movement kicked off, and for a long time I think we've all been aware that child actors in Hollywood in particular didn't have a great experience. Very few of them have. So I was inspired by all that. I was also inspired to talk about the way that art can make us and unmake us. It's this constant question we have of, do we judge the art or the artist? And I wanted to get to the heart of that. I was also writing a lot of this last year during lockdown, and I can talk a bit about that as well. It was really, really tough writing this. But I partly wanted to write a book that focuses on a famous thespian family that's very immersed in an arts world, because I wanted to talk about art speaking for us and to us and how powerful that is. And as a little example, I thought I would just read a short section of my book to you that maybe speaks a bit to these themes. "You two should show some respect," she'd said, straightening the photo and then looking over her shoulder at us. "That's Gough Whitlam, patron saint of prime ministers who gave a damn about the arts." And then she'd winked. Yale and I had giggled into our hands for the unusual combination of saints and solemnity that came from our bubby. And then a story had followed, recited as Lottie took my badminton racket and started bouncing the shuttlecock on its head as she stepped lightly up and down our hallway. Gough Whitlam once saw fit to save a little cinema in North Hobart when it was going under. Instead of letting it be sold off privately, Whitlam had his government buy the state cinema and keep it public so everyone could go on enjoying it. Here, she'd snatch the shuttlecock out of the air, then use my racket to point back at the picture on the wall. I was even there on the day that Gough and Margaret Whitlam visited the newly opened AFI State Cinema in 1975 for a special screening of The Hazards. Lottie walked back to the photo on the wall and tapped her finger twice over the larger-than-life figure of Gough Whitlam. This was the first Australian politician who really respected the arts and artists. And then, in a very convincing baritone imitation of Gough Whitlam, Lottie quoted the XPM when she said, "Don't forget, girls, in Gough's own words, a society in which the arts flourish is a society in which every human value can flourish." I think that's important, especially now. And I hope I get to talk to you all more about this and about how this is a book about going through something really difficult and coming out the other side, still whole in yourself, finding a way for the little hurts that haunt us and grow around us to be carried by us a little bit easier, a little bit better. It's also got a romance in there too that I'm very, very proud of, and that I personally needed to write for myself last year in 2020, because this was a tough one to get out. And if I could just speak to any emerging writers, authors right now who are finding it really hard. In my acknowledgements of this book, I have a quote from a New York author called Talia Lavin, who wrote something on Twitter, of all places, very, very early on in the pandemic last year. And I included it in the acknowledgements of my book because it's a message that I really took to heart when I was writing this monolith thing that just seems so much harder to do last year, and indeed in continuing circumstances. So I'm going to read it out to you in the hopes that it will be of some assistance and help. If you're writing or editing or working on a book right now, it may be incredibly difficult because the future is so uncertain. But every word you put on paper is an affirmation of the fact that there will be a future. It is a profound act of faith. So if I could just say anything to you, it would be have faith in the arts, have faith in artists, have faith in independent bookshops. They are vital to our publishing and arts industry. They are good people, one and all. And if you can please support the Eltham Bookshop and buy a copy, I promise I will sign it for you as soon as I am able. Thank you so much. See